Warhammer 40K is for cucks and fags. It's not dark, it's not intense, it's not science fiction, it's not fantasy. It doesn't have good, compelling lore. There are so many contradicting elements to this. It's impossible to take it seriously. Like, Warhammer 40K is absolutely the beta male's tabletop RPG. Someone who instead of going outside and enjoying life and like having lots of good fulfilling experiences like chooses to stay inside and argue over like the history of a fictional order of space marines, right? Like there were no female custodes, like like that is the Warhammer 40K fan base. Some of the most pathetic, asinine, just ignorant people on the face of the planet. They don't consume real sci-fi. They don't consume real fiction. Like everything has to revolve around this fictional setting because it's so dark. It's so dark. Like oh, bad things happen in 40K. It never ends. Like it is one of the most pathetic things I've ever seen in my life is the worship of Warhammer 40K, and I felt this way for a long time. Ever since like 10 years ago when Gamergate came out and these guys were bragging about how it would be impossible to infiltrate Warhammer 40K and make it woke. Oh man, amazing to see those people just fall apart at the seams, like not being able to protect their brand from wokeness. But it's it's really interesting, really, 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 really interesting to see people try and pretend that Space Marine 2 is good because like that's kind of the narrative with Warhammer fans right now is that like the Space Marines are cool, they're badass, they're so hardcore, and a game about them would be the coolest thing ever, man. Like it doesn't matter like who's writing the game, who's making it, like anything about the mechanics or the story. Like as long as it's branded with that like Warhammer 40K thing, you're gonna see fanboys come out and worship it because like these people don't play video games, right? They don't know anything about like the wider world of sci-fi gaming. Like they don't know anything. They don't know how much better Nintendo is. They don't know uh, they're the kind of people who consume licensed slop, right? And they think it's the greatest thing ever because they haven't really played anything else, right? Like how Batman and Arkham Asylum fans think that game has good stealth and good melee combat when both are like extremely mediocre, right? That's just one example. But Warhammer 40K fans really seem to think that Space Marine 2 was going to be some major giga hit, right? They really thought this was going to be some industry defining thing. I saw Oh No It's Alex on Twitter, that bisexual bum, right? He was like, "This is the next gen game we've been waiting for." Like, wasn't that Baldur's Gate 3? Like, are you really gonna move on from Baldur's Gate 3, a D&D derivative, to Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2? A Warhammer 40K derivative. Like, where are your actual new gaming IPs? Like, why do you feel the need to latch on to pre-existing things? It's because you can't get people interested. Like otherwise, like you have to have Harry Potter, you have to have Warhammer 40K, you have to have Lord of the Rings, you have to have something to get people interested because actual real gamers are almost exclusively playing Nintendo consoles, right? I this month alone, I'm playing Ace Attorney Investigations. I am playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I am playing The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. All on my Nintendo Switch, right? Like, what exactly are people thinking when they come out and try to say that Space Marine 2 is great? It's the greatest thing ever. Like it's so good. Like I love being a Space Marine. I love not having testicles. I love like Come on. You are embarrassing yourselves. You are a man child, okay? Like, this game is going to be really, really quickly forgotten, I think, in the grand scheme of things. Much like Baldur's Gate 3 and Alan Woke 2 before it, Elden Dingling, now that the DLC is out. Like, who is going to remember Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2, like, 10 years from now? Like, already, nobody really cares about Warhammer 40K 1. Nobody cared about that game at all until people started coming out and saying that, like, the first game was good, the first game was good, the first game was good, and it's not, like, like, why exactly am I supposed to take you seriously? Like, why exactly should I take anything that Games Workshop does seriously? Like, why exactly should I respect them? Like, why exactly should I respect the Warhammer 40K IP? Like, what about it is so great that I should, like, bend over and take the Emperor's cock up my ass? Like, why should I do that? Like, why does anyone care about this IP? Like, why? You can get way better experiences by playing actual video games, right? You can play, like, Gradius 3 and have a way more intense, like one man versus the world. Like, it's like, playing Gradius 3 is like you're one ship flying against the entire Empyrean, right? They're sending, like, wave after wave of, like, guys after you. You have, like, sand tigers, you have, like, these crazy monsters. Like, no, not just the Imperium, like the entire 40K universe, right? The thing that everyone says is, like, so dark and edgy. Yeah, in Gradius 3, it's all coming after you. And in Gradius 3, you're, like, swerving your ship, you're upgrading, you're optimizing your build, you're getting better, and you're stomping the entire thing because you're simply better than them, right? That's Warhammer 40K, is that it isn't an IP that is relevant in video games. It isn't relevant in film. It isn't relevant in tabletop RPG form. It is not relevant with the tie-in novels or, like, the wider universe. Like, nobody cares about Warhammer 40K. So why exactly am I expected to care about this mediocre release from a mediocre developer on a platform that isn't Nintendo? Like, why should I care about a video game on a lesser video game platform?